Hi everybody, welcome to the vlog, and since this is my first vlog, I figured I would give everybody a little bit of background about myself. So this is me at a show. When I was a youngster, two things I got into like around middle school were skateboarding and punk and hardcore music. And through that, I was able to meet a bunch of different bands, and I was actually fortunate enough to get to go on the road with some of them. So the first band I ended up working for was a band called Black Train Jack, who were from New York City. And I got to go everywhere in the United States, continental, got to go to Europe with them, and it was a great time with great friends. And from that, we toured with a band named Down by Law, who were from Los Angeles, great bunch of guys who I worked for a few years. First band I went to Canada with, did the U.S. with them a couple times, and then after that, I started working for a band that I was friends with from just around the scene named Weston. And I did a couple tours with them until they kind of went on hiatus and stopped touring. But through all of this, I got to meet so many great bands, got to be really good friends with a lot of them, and had an awesome time doing it. So once they stopped touring and once I kind of didn't want to go on tour anymore, I went back to school. But sometime in the late 90s, I also found poker. I found it by randomly just coming across the World Series of Poker on ESPN one night, and I watched it and I said, man, I really want to check this out. And seeing as though I lived in Philadelphia, Atlantic City was only a couple hours away, so the next time I went to Atlantic City, I went to Taj Mahal, which was the mecca for poker in the late 90s, and got my feet wet starting to learn the game. So fast forward 20-some years, and I'm still playing poker all the time. There's a room 15 minutes from my house, which is great. But my kids really started getting into YouTube. And so I decided to get a subscription so that they didn't have to see all the commercials and everything. And Dad ended up checking it out and finding Andrew Nemi and Brad Owen, and started watching their poker vlogs, and really started getting into the poker vlogging on YouTube, and thought the one thing that's missing on here is a different perspective, something from the East Coast that also combines music. And that's what I'm hoping to do here with Poker Punks. And I'm looking to vlog my experiences at the table, but also try and connect with some old friends and bands, because I know there used to be huge games on the Warped Tour back in the day, and just try and maybe bring some interviews with some bands as they come through on tour about not just the band, but if they play poker, what they do, where they play, who they play with, and things like that, to kind of bring a different perspective to the space.
So as we start to get into the hands, this video is actually a remix of the first vlog that I've done. I picked up a little idea from another vlogger named Ashley Sleeth, and I hope she doesn't mind me stealing the idea, for a hand where she didn't get to record, but she used the blurred footage to go over the hand, and I like that a lot better than what I had done the first vlog. So I wanted to redo that and get used to the editing. So I kind of borrowed the idea from her. So the issue is that the casinos here in Philadelphia, they are not used to vlogging, and they are not too up on recording at the tables. So I'm trying to work with them and show them the value in it, and hopefully we'll be able to get actual footage in future vlogs. So getting into this first hand.
We're at a 1-3 table waiting for a 2-5 to open up. We look down at 4 deuce of diamonds. One limper at us, we limp, a couple limpers behind, and the blinds come along. So with $18 in the pot, we go to a flop. And this one would be, I think they say, fortunate for us. Is that how the vloggers say it? Anyway, we flop a flush here. We lead out for 11 when we're check 2. We get 2 callers behind, and we go to a turn, which is the 7 of clubs. This card looks good to us. At this point, we're targeting one pair of hands with a diamond. So we bet out 20. We get 1 caller, and we're off to a river. And that river is the worst card we could hope for. It is the Queen of Diamonds. So we're figuring that we're beat here. We figure that all the draws got there. So we check, and to our delight, we hear check back, and we hear our opponent announce straight. So we table our flush, and we scoop, and it turns out that they called with a gut shot, no pair, and got there on the river, but were far behind the whole time. All right, so the next thing we look down at is Queen 10 in early position. I make it 20. I haven't really played much hands in a bit and got a little bit of a tight image going. So then I get 3-bet to 100 from the button. And he's been opening really light all night. He's done this to me a bunch of times already. And so I decided I am not going to stand for it anymore. So when it folds around to me, I throw in the 4-bet to 350. He thinks about it for maybe 10 seconds, makes the call. So flop comes off, Jack 9-7. So we flop a gutter ball, but we're just determined to take this pot down. So we think for a second, and we throw out $400. And to my delight, button quickly folds. We're just kind of sending the message that we're done being pushed around, so if we have it, we're going to push it. In this case, we didn't have it, but he doesn't. So the next thing we look down at is Jack 9 of clubs in the small blind. It folds around to a middle position limper, then folds around to the button, who makes 25. This guy's been opening light all night, so I don't see any problem calling his raise from the blind, so I call. Then the big blind makes it 80, he 3-bets. The limper folds, button calls, and I call because it's only 55 more to see a flop. And we see a flop of Jack 8-10 with 2 hearts. So I like this flop a lot. I check, big blind bets out $100. I just flat here, looking to see if I can improve on the turn on my open ender. And the other player folds. And we do improve here. We hit the Jack of spades. So at this point, I think I really have this hand locked up. So I check over to the bettor. He bets out $100, but that's not enough for us. So we raise up to $350, and to our surprise, he rips it in for $820 total, and we snap it off thinking that we've got this board locked up. And then the river brings us the beautiful Jack of hearts to complete our quads and give us the nuts, and it is a good thing that it came off because big blind turned over one of the only hands we were behind in pocket tens. So sometimes it is much better to run good than be good. So in this hand, we look down at King 10 of diamonds. A couple folds to me. I open for 25 from middle position. Folds around to the cutoff and the button who call, and the blinds get out of the way. So we go 3 ways to a flop with $82 in the pot, and the flop comes off 10-10-5. So great flop for us. So I lead out for 25, cutoff folds, and the button makes the call. So we're off to a turn card, which comes the ace of hearts. So I check over, hoping that he has an ace. He bets out 50, and I just flat, hoping that he has an ace here. The only hand that we're really worried about is ace 10, so we'll be happy to go to a river card and see what develops. And we're hoping that he has something like some sort of ace or jack king, king queen, something like that that'll put some more money in here. So we go to a river card, which is 10 of clubs. So for the second time in roughly 15 minutes, we've run out quads with a one-liner, and we're thinking, what can we get out of him? At this point, we're hoping that he has an ace and can call a big bet. So we bet out $350 on the river, trying to put out the overbet and target an ace that thinks he's going to chop here. Unfortunately, the button folds, so we end up showing the quads again to kind of let the table know that we had it, and the button actually announces that he had pocket fives, so he was ahead the whole time until the river. So for the second time in 15 minutes, not only did I get quads, but I got bailed out with them on the river. So like I said, sometimes it's always better to run good than be good. So we were into this session for 1,300, out for 25.75 for a total of 12.75 on the upside. So just remember to like and subscribe to the channel to help us grow, and keep your eyes out for vlog number 2, which will be coming soon.